I've been thinking about my appearance that I did on the Turtleboy show, his live stream in 2021. How I got onto his show was that I was contacting him because several people had suggested I get in contact with him because of what we were going through with the town. One person in particular who was connected to someone who was going through the same thing, property dispute with the town of Orange, specifically Jane Pearce, who basically runs the town of Orange. She had basically ascended to the position of being the town and queen of the town or whatever. She runs the town. They have a select board, but they're all there in service to whatever agenda Jane Pearce sort of hands to them, and they're pretty much handpicked by Jane Pearce. This isn't really in question by really anybody, and enough people benefit from it that people see it as a good thing. So, be that as it may, this person, rest in peace. He was going through a property dispute, and the town of Orange just came in and just just stole all of his stuff and auctioned it off. They literally stole his property because they didn't like the way his yard looked and how it was affecting like the East River Street, I believe. Um, and so they just came in with trucks and they stole all his stuff and then they sold it, and he didn't see any of that money or anything. So he had an ongoing court case with the town. He sued the town, and the town just lied. And as soon as I actually went and met with this individual, and he was and we talked and stuff about what we were going over, or what we were going through rather, and it kind of filled in some blanks for me and gave me some perspective as to how to move forward. I still didn't move forward in the way, looking back, I would, having gained the knowledge that I do now, I would definitely do it differently, and I would do the Turtleboy show differently. I've got a lot of stairwell wit that I would employ now, having gone through the whole situation. But going back to the Turtleboy thing, in the beginning of the Turtleboy thing, I would harp on the situation because I wanted to go on his show to expose the town and these people, and he wanted to get right to my media posts and make the show about me being a Nazi and having unauthorized opinions about the Jews and minorities. Ooh, and because he's fashioned himself as a conservative, wannabe like independent like journalist or pundit, when he's nothing of the sort. He's really just a gossip peddler. He's a local to Massachusetts gossip peddler who gloms on and insinuates himself into people's personal lives and situations, and because of the the police blotter, and the police report that they post, it's fair game. It's very similar in Ford County, Illinois, with the Ford Chronicle. The Ford Chronicle just plasters whoever had been arrested, and they're guilty by virtue of being arrested and having their mugshot plastered on the Ford Chronicle Facebook page, and then spending a night in jail, because that's how they do in Illinois, or maybe just Ford County. They just arrest you and then you spend a night in jail, as if you're just automatically convicted, and then you go through the whole process. But what I wish I had sort of harped on was, I had recorded meetings with the Jane Pearce and the court over Zoom, because in 2020, when this was happening, it was the COVID thing, and we all met over Zoom. And at that point, when everything was sort of being finalized, my parents had no choice but to go and get a bankruptcy lawyer. So we were when I was living in Pennsylvania, close to my parents at the time, and my mom and I would travel up to Massachusetts um, to try to do repairs to the house, so that the hold order, I forget what it's called, we couldn't evict these people until the the there was like a stay from the health department that wouldn't lift to give us the ability through the courts to evict these people, because their lease was up. They had agreed to move in and try out the place and contemplate buying the place. But because I didn't have that explicitly in the lease, they could just at the end of the year just be like, that never happened. And so while this was happening, I'd recorded the meetings. I was talking to Crystal Eagle's mother, who at the time was also in a legal or in a custody battle with Crystal Eagles. Crystal Eagle's a person who spends all day playing video games with teenagers and making sexually explicit comments to them, smoking pot. And I would frequently, like, when I would go to do repairs, I would see her set her vibrator on the couch. Looking back, I wish I took pictures of this stuff. And I would talk to her mother, and her mother revealed that they've done this before. The last place that they lived at, I forget where, it was closer to Boston. They were literally ran out of the place by the landlord with a shovel because they're just squatters. And Franklin County's tenant laws are just so lax, because I went and I talked to a lawyer in Springfield, and he's like, oh yeah, the Franklin County is notorious for this sort of thing. Come to find out. And she was struggling for custody of Crystal's two daughters, I believe, with another person, another marriage or relationship, not Derek Eagles. And because when the daughter, the 12-year-old, would come home, would go back to her grandmother, Crystal Eagle's mother, she would sexually act out through the internet. And she would do things like sleep in between the wall and her bed, which is, according to Crystal Eagle's mother, is a clear sign of sexual abuse. And she said she was basically convinced that Derek Eagles was molesting her. And if that's legally actionable for me to say that, that's what I was thinking at the time when I did the Turtleboy, because I still do have the video of that meeting where I just I just couldn't believe all this stuff was happening, and going to court and everything is just so overwhelming. And the reason why I'm even doing a video like this, I'll probably do another video where it's more scripted and I have my thoughts lined up better, more coherently, is because that is just so overwhelming that you have to explain so much. And Frank, I'm just getting sick of being attacked. It's just I try to do a good thing and rent my parents' house so they can sell it, so they can pay the loan to the bank, and then the people get in there and they have played this gamed the system before, where they just get a free house and they skate by on free rent, or not having to pay rent for months and months, in years. And then when I realized this, and they drop the mask effectively, and I try to get them evicted, serve them papers and everything, they go to the health department in Orange, Massachusetts, there, to basically have this activist health department or health department agent, Jamie Kolosowicz, just rabidly take their side, befriend them, and go after us. And there's just so much to explain that it's just overwhelming me because politics come in play, the toxic culture comes into play, the liberal cultural atmosphere of the place comes into play, and to try to go through and wade into all of this stuff, whereas like they in a position of power can just be like, no, it's none of that, as if they're just above the board. They just present themselves as if they're above the board, and they do everything in a way that they have plausible deniability. So that's why I started yelling that Derek Eagles was a pedophile, because he is a pedophile, and I believe Crystal Eagles' mother, that she was she basically effectively said that um, what I had just said. Derek Eagles is a pedophile, and so fuck these people. These are the bad guys. This is the thing. It's just like, you guys. I don't understand how like an objective legal body or town officials could side with these people. But that's the nature that we're worse. At the time, it was Crystal Eagle said, "This is my house." Um, and she called me a dumbass Trump supporter. And I was a Trump supporter. My parents were Trump supporters. But that's the mindset of Jane Pearce and the Eagles and people in power in Massachusetts. So anyway, by the time that Turtleboy, to get back to Turtleboy, wrote his smear piece on me, his hit piece, tax evading slumlord has interesting things about minorities and Jews. So he just runs with their narrative. When you're trying to smear a person, you don't really look into it. And Turtleboy is just he's just a dumb guy. He has an audience because he has the audacity and the psychopathy to just plaster peoples and defame people who can't legally defend themselves by plastering them on his website and libeling them on his show. So people that enjoy this kind of thing are low-life scumbags themselves. I often think about how just in this culture where people are so demoralized and we have no representative power in government whatsoever, and really just wins come in the form of your political enemies getting trampled. So the only wins that you get is to watch people you don't agree with or have like a differing opinion with eat shit. So people are just toxic narcissists anymore, and the Turtleboy is basically the king of the fucking toxic sociopathic narcissists in Massachusetts. So at that time, the bankruptcy had gone through. We didn't owe any taxes, and we didn't own the house. We didn't own the house, and I explained all this stuff. And when he asked me to come on the show, and I still have the texts. I said like, well, you have to take down if I go on your show, you have to take down the article, and he agreed to that. And then after the show, when you Google my name, he said my name so many times in the article that and he stole and screenshots of my Facebook page with my naughty, political opinions. There were several purposes or motivations for Turtleboy to do this. One being to maliciously attack me and libel me publicly, so that he would look good. And that just came out in the. It wasn't an interview. It was a. He wants to be like a pundit from one of these shows from the '90s where he cuts your mic if you're saying something, if you're not being the person. The first time I called in, I was working, and he's like, "You have a chance to. I published the article. You can come on the show and exonerate yourself, and I'll take down the article if you come on the show." So I called in while I was working, and I just gave him what he wanted. I gave him the N word and I gave him the FAG word, which I have no problem saying because I'm an American. and I can say things. I don't give a fuck. That's why I post things on my Facebook. I am the type of person when I see an injustice and an untruth and people getting unfairly treated, I go in, I investigate, and I delve into the thing or the controversy, and I come up with the truth and I expose it. That's how the journalists of today present themselves, but they're really just mouthpieces for power. And Turtleboy is really just servicing a narrative for clout that is popular within the mainstream. You know, uh, he said he's not. He says he's a conservative, and he's like he at the. I don't know if he still does this. I haven't paid attention to him. He's like he battles the wokies and stuff. Like he's fashioning himself as this kind of like a social crusader, and it's just totally disingenuous. He's just out there to get his name out, and he likes attention and clout. Um, it's fucking pathetic, and the people that enjoy this stuff are just fucking pathetic too. Uh, and I've garnered a lot of haters, just through my personal life. I'm not a media personality. I like sort of dabbled in it and stuff, but I'm a cartoonist. Um, you know, but I find myself in a position where I consistently have to defend myself because people attack me and then pretend that I'm attacking them. So by the time Turtleboy published his article and had me on the show, the bankruptcy had gone through and we didn't own the house. We were selling the house as is. And that's why when I interviewed Derek and showed them at the house, had the walkthrough with the house with them, I explained to them like, it's renovated to a point. It's an old house. My parents moved to Pennsylvania to be with my sister, and all this personal stuff is none of anybody's business. Why my parents moved, what's going on there, But all of a sudden, like these things blow up, and my personal life is like people's business. Who I'm dating is some people's business, and they have to like construct me as some kind of like unhinged, violent person so that they can run roughshod over me and get their way through official channels and get their satisfaction by watching me go down, maybe even like imprisoned. And when I showed Derek and they looked over the lease agreement and everything, which they were very interested in because they're con artists. They get off on tricking people and getting one over on people. Derek Ewell says like, oh, I think we're gonna have a good relationship, you and I. And looking back, like that was just like a really obnoxious, and a sign of things to come. Because then they broke things. They were idiots. They don't know. They left the back door open during the winter, so the pipes froze. And then there was all of a sudden like a $700 water bill, and they couldn't own up to it because we told them to keep the back door closed and a heater down, so the pipes wouldn't freeze. All this stuff. These people are morons. They just spend their time on the internet and play video games. They like what are they collect Funko Pops. They're really into Stephen King. These are just the worst fucking people on the planet. And if you're one of these peoples who like is a shit lib who like fights for trans rights and stuff, like fuck you, faggot. And I don't have any respect for you, but I have a right to say the things that I say, and that's why he had me on his show. He had me on his show not to expose me to be a tax evading slumlord, but he wanted to juxtapose himself with me and say, here's the real Nazi, because he would go after, trans stuff or, gay stuff. And then people would call him a Nazi. Because that's how Massachusetts is. Massachusetts is one of the most toxic social climates in the fucking country. And you can't, the worst thing you could do in Massachusetts is be like a racist. And then beyond that, like be a homophobe. And, if you're any of those things at all, then you're a Nazi. I'd been called a Nazi so many times that I looked into it. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? The Holocaust is fake. The Holocaust is fake. And people don't read stuff. People don't read the other side. So Turtleboy sort of exploits his platform to slander people. And like, I'm not a tax. We don't owe taxes to Orange. And the curious thing about Orange is that they've targeted us for this, and the Eagles to this day still live in that house. You know, they got away with it. They didn't. They were squatting, and then it went into a receivership, and this guy O'Bear, I think Jerry, or I don't know. O'Bear Construction took the place, and the town of Orange through Jane Pearce basically guaranteed that that he would be paid, that we would pay him for the repairs to the house. So, and he is effectively the landlord of the place now, of the house, and he's collecting rent from these people. He raised rent, and they've been consistently paying him rent. So, you know, good for him, and good for them. They get a house, you know. And as far as the bank is concerned, part of the lease agreement was if we defaulted on the loan, the house went to them. It was the collateral. And they looked into the situation with the tenants, and they're like, we don't want anything to do with it. And so that was a court situation. So my parents we were just like, well, let the bank take care of this situation, as per the lease agreement. And they didn't want it, and they took us to court, and they wanted us to pay. But the judge in that case was because it was the bankruptcy. This was my parents were filing for bankruptcy. The judge said that this is in the agreement, and the bank was just we're not interested. I contacted the bank because Ryan Malyu, this homosexual bank manager, vice president of the Workers Credit Union in Orange, Massachusetts, also served on the select board with Jane Pearce at the time of everything going on. So there was a conflict of interest there. It just never came up. You know, these people, they want you to think that they're just objective and just doing their job. Like Jamie Kolosowicz would have lunch and breakfast and hang out with the Eagles. The Eagles would come by while the cranes and the trucks were picking apart this person who I had mentioned previously, his property, and they were out there like, you know, laughing and taking pictures. These people are just scum. But my name gets dragged through the mud because, you know, I say the Holocaust is fake. And I point out the hypocrisy with, like, black crime and the sensitivity, the projected onto sensitivity of black people when you say the N-word. And, I think Turtleboy, he's a scumbag and, like, a low IQ moron, but he creates so much audacious material that people enjoy punching down. Like, you get like a poor person from like a trailer park or something who gets in a domestic dispute or something, and then Turtleboy writes an article and files it under bad behavior and just plasters these people. You know, it's just scumbag journalism. It's just sensationalist tabloid stuff, but just for regular people. These people aren't, there's no public interest here. The only interest is what Turtleboy, digs up and presents to people. So I think I'll make a longer video, but, I wish in the beginning I had spoken about the situation I had been in longer and insisted on speaking with that long, getting more information about what we were going through, because I would show up at the house and Crystal Eagles would just start recording me and shove her phone in my face and just try to bait me into a fight so she could call the cops. And if she didn't bait me, she would just call the cops anyway and just tell the cops. She would act hysterical. This dysgenic, lisping, morbidly obese monster person. And the other thing is, she filed for a restraining order against me, so I couldn't come to the house to do repairs, to relieve us of the burden of the order from the health department to do these repairs. And once again, if we didn't once these repairs were done, the order would be lifted and we could evict these people. So she attempted to do. This is it's by the playbook. There's a playbook out there how to do this. If you have, literally no scruples and no shame, and are just like one of these low life scumbags, which the Eagles are. And so she, in the court, the hearing for the restraining order, she said that I was very scary. And I had shaved and like put on a tie and everything. She's like, he's cleaned up. She was wearing like a over extra large like Garfield shirt and pajama pants, and that's how she went to court. And the magistrate was like, yeah, there's nothing here. And I just told the magistrate that, like, I have to go to this house and do these repairs, as per order from the Orange Health Department. That's why I'm going to the house. That's why I'm interacting with this person at all. Because I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't do a background check. And I was stupid enough to not include in the lease. But even if I had done all that stuff, they could just squat anyways in Massachusetts. Because once we went to court, Jamie Kolosowicz just said that the repairs that I had done and the repairs that I had hired a professional to do, a very well recommended like local contractor, fixed up stuff. And Jamie Kolosowicz just said that it wasn't of the quality, high quality that she required. This is the person who would, with no one else around, Jamie Kolosowicz, while I'm being filmed, and everything that Crystal Eagles, like, she took the video of, she presented in court too, and edited out the things that Jamie Kolosowicz said, which were pretty inflammatory. But like Jamie Kolosowicz just would, like, this little like troll, like squat rotund woman, shit-lib schoolmarm, who would castigate you for using the wrong pronouns or something. Would get flushed. She got flushed in the face, and she would like castigate me like I'm not like a full-grown man or something. So these people are, and you can hear it with Jane Pearce too. When I call her, she just completely just asserted her narrative during the meeting, and I just said, no, that's not true. You're lying. And so she had to be the adult in the room. The way these people preen and posture is disgusting, and they get into positions of power to do this. Anyways, I'm psychoanalyzing these people, but it's hard to not to, like, because you go to court and it's just, after a while, it's just like, how do these people get away with it? How does Judge Fields, consistently just like gaslight us? And so we still are receiving taxes. We contact our bankruptcy lawyer, who is just annoyed with the whole thing, and he's like, you owe no taxes. You don't even own the house. It's pretty just obnoxious. And he says, just collect all the notices, all the tax bills and everything, and eventually you'll have, a harassment case against these people. And we have a harassment case against them right now. We just don't have the means to, file for, sue them, or, shop for a lawyer that would do this sort of thing. But as far as our bankruptcy lawyer is concerned, he's already told us that, like, yeah, just ignore them, and they're just you think that officials in a town wouldn't be petty, narcissistic, motivated by their own self-interest, and just blatantly like gaslight people and do this sort of thing. But Jane Pearce, Ryan Mullew, I think all the select board in Orange, Massachusetts, they just keep giving themselves raises. They invent new taxes, like, what was that? I heard there was a view tax, like if you live like elevated, like if your property is sort of elevated and you have like a nice view of like of lake, or like a valley or something, then they introduce this nice view tax or something. I don't know, I can only call them scumbags so many times, but there's a bankruptcy. We don't owe any taxes, and Turtleboy just is a opportunistic. I guess he's going through like some kind of court thing or whatever, and there's pictures of him like holding up the fist, like he's fighting for justice or whatever. He's just fighting for um, his own ego. Like, this is just a person that's motivated by his own ego and grandiose narcissistic personality, and clout and internet clicks. And people that support this person, you know, it's why I want to leave the country, because you exist. Um, so yeah, I think I'll do a longer video detailing this stuff just to get it out, because the slander persists. Like, you just drag somebody. I wouldn't drag anybody's name through the mud unless it was to like clear my name. Like, I was attacked in Gibson City, and like, oh, I kind of feel, like these girls, like, like, I kind of feel bad, like, this is what they're known for now or whatever. But then I think about what they attempted to do to me. Like, someone tries to ruin and destroy your life and sit there with like a smug face, and like claim that it's for, some altruistic, selfless reason other than like just a grudge pursuit. And it's obnoxious. And there's you can you can barely swing a dead cat in this country. You can barely. I think I think they're manufacturing. I'm going off on tangents now. I think, yeah, they're manufacturing these people, the culture. But I'll do a longer video maybe, just to get this out of my system, because it's still up. Um, you know, I have the receipts from the bankruptcy. I wish I saved more, but like sometimes, like with people, I just get over things. Like, wow, I can't believe that I invested in this person and trusted them, and they betrayed me so extravagantly. And they're using, screenshots or edited, whatever, to slander me and get one over on me and present to the public this idea just for just to defame me. And then, everything on my side, it's just like, I deleted all those interactions with you because I didn't want to fucking look at them. I deleted those pictures of you because I'm getting over it. Like, the amount of just immature people who think it's a strength to be petty assholes. This is already a long video. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. I think, just to get this out of my system, the Turtleboy thing. Um, yeah, I went on to Turtleboy under false pretenses, and I thought that he was gonna stick to his word, but nobody sticks to their word. You know, nobody. There's no principles. Everybody's a reprobate in America. Opportunistic reprobates. And on that note, have a great day.